Tonight, you're not in your bedroom. You're not beneath the hum of city lights or the familiar creak of your ceiling fan. Tonight, your spirit wanders back to fields untouched by iron and stone, where the grass still remembers the footsteps of a boy called David. You stand where he stood. Feel the hush of the hills, the warmth of the sheep pressed against each other in the dark. A sling rests by your side, smooth stones hidden in your palm like quiet promises. The wind hums ancient psalms through the branches, carrying whispers of courage, fear, and a throne waiting far beyond the shadows. This is a story of fields and battles, of songs and silence, of how a shepherd's heart became a king's crown, not through armies, but through the quiet faith that blooms when no one is watching. Where are you listening from tonight? I read every comment, and if this kind of storytelling speaks to your heart, you're welcome to join us. Just tap subscribe before you drift off. You stand at the edge of the pasture, where dawn is nothing but a pale promise behind the hills of Bethlehem. Your breath makes soft clouds in the cold air, and each exhale carries a prayer. You don't yet know how to speak aloud. You feel the leather strap of your sling brush against your fingertips, the weight of 5 smooth stones resting in a small pouch by your side. Simple things, yet they hold stories that have not yet been told. The sheep move around you like white shadows, heads low, hooves pressing the dew into the earth. You listen, truly listen to the hush between their bleats, the rustle of distant olive trees, the first lonely call of a dove waking with you. Above you, the sky softens into a quiet blue. You close your eyes. You are only a boy here, unseen by the world, yet seen by the one who shaped these hills and carved this dawn dot in the silence. You hum an old melody your father taught you, a hymn to steady your heart as lions prowl on the edges of your mind. You know danger. You know how shadows hide teeth and claws. But you also know courage, courage born from the hush of these fields, where you have learned to trust the shepherd who watches over you. A breeze stirs the fringe of your cloak. You pull it tighter and feel the soft wool of a lamb pressed against your leg. They trust you. They trust that you will stand between them and the dark dot. So tonight, you breathe deep the scent of wildflowers and wool. You watch the sky open, and somewhere inside you, a throne no one else can see begins to rise, built on faith. Stone by stone, each prayer a hidden cornerstone. The sun has barely kissed the hills when you sense it, a tremor beneath the hush, a ripple in the soft breathing of your flock. Your eyes narrow, searching the tall grass for the thing that does not belong. You kneel, hand pressed to the earth. Their paw prints, fresh and heavy, the mark of claws that tear and teeth that find soft throats in the dark. You have seen it before, the aftermath, the blood on the stones, the silent cries in the eyes of the lambs you could not save. Your heart beats steady, though the wind carries the musk of the predator, a lion perhaps, or a bear wandering down from the caves above Bethlehem. It does not matter which, you stand anyway. Your fingers close around the strap of your sling. Feel the rough leather warmed by your skin. You choose a stone, smooth and cool, rolling it in your palm like a secret. This is not your first battle in these fields, nor will it be your last. The sheep press closer. You feel their bodies, trembling yet trusting. They do not run, because you do not run. In the silence of your mind, you speak words too quiet for the world to hear. Lord, you are my shepherd. You lead me through the valley of shadows. You teach my hands to fight and my heart to rest. A branch snaps, the brush shivers, and Then you see its golden mane glinting in the half-light, eyes burning like small suns in the underbrush. Fear comes like a wave and passes through you like water over stone. In its place grows something older than fear, resolve, sharpened by nights alone under the stars. Nights when the only voice you heard was the one who called you his own. You set your feet, feel the earth anchor you. The lion moves, muscles rippling, breath steaming in the morning chill. And you, boy of the fields, grip your sling tighter, your heart a quiet drumbeat, your spirit steady as the hills that cradle you. You step forward, the sling heavy with promise in your hand. The lion's growl rumbles through the grass, a sound that trembles in the bones of the earth beneath your feet. Its eyes lock with yours, gold meeting gold, and for a heartbeat, you see the same hunger that prowls inside. Every shadow, but you do not look away. Your fingers find the perfect rhythm, stone nestled deep in the leather pouch, wrist circling, muscles remembering every bird, every rock, every silent practice under a star-flecked sky. The wind holds its breath with you. You whisper not to the lion, but to the one who watches over you. Be my aim, be my courage. The sling whirs, a soft hum against the roar that builds in your chest. One heartbeat, then you release. The stone flies, a sliver of faith, cutting through the air, and strikes true. A dull crack echoes through the hills. The lion's roar falters, broken into a gasp of surprise. Its great body sags, crashing into the grass like a fallen tree. And then silence, no cheers, no trumpet to announce your victory, only your breath, ragged and full, your chest rising and falling in the soft morning light. The sheep gather round you, noses nudging your legs, finding safety in your scent, your strength. You kneel beside the beast, fingers brushing its mane. Its fur is warm, its eyes now empty of hunger. There is no pride in you, only a trembling, holy fear, a knowing that your hands, small and calloused, hold power not their own. You stand again, stone dust on your fingertips, a boy, a shepherd. Yet somewhere deep within you, a throne whispers. Courage in secret becomes a crown in the open. Above you, a lark begins its song, and in that simple tune you hear a promise. This is only the beginning. You walk the path home with the sun now climbing, painting the hills in gold and promise. Each step feels heavier than the last, not because you carry the lion's pelt slung over your shoulder, but because you carry the knowing you were never truly alone. Your fingers brush the rough fur, still warm with yesterday's hunger. A trophy, they might call it. But for you, it is a reminder that in the hush of these fields, faith grows teeth and courage finds its roar. The sheep follow, their hooves tapping a gentle drumbeat on the stony trail. Their bleats echo through the low valley, and you catch the distant bark of dogs guarding your father's house. You see it now, the small stone home resting on a rise, smoke curling from the chimney, the scent of bread and olive oil carried on the breeze. Your brother's laughter drifts through the open doorway, rough and careless like the boys they still are, boys who do not yet know that the world is about to shift on its axis. You pause at the gate, fingers resting on the wood worn smooth by. Your father's hand. Inside, you hear your mother's voice, low and warm, a sound that settles something restless in your chest. You step through, the lion's fur brushing the doorway. Your brothers turn, eyes wide, mouths half formed, around words they do not speak. One of them reaches out to touch the mane, pulls his hand back as if it might still bite. They ask how you did it. Did you not fear? Did you not run? You shrug, You do not tell them of the prayer whispered into the dawn, the trembling that made your knees feel weak before it made you strong. You sit at the table, the smell of fresh bread softening the memory of claws and teeth. Your father watches you with eyes that see deeper than most, and for a moment you wonder if he knows that the boy before him will one day stand where kings fear to tread. Outside, the hills hold their breath. Whispers of distant battle drift in on the wind. Stories of a giant clad in iron, his voice thunder across the valley of Elah. But here, for now, you are only a shepherd again. A boy in the hush of his family's love, bread warm in your hands. A psalm forming quiet on your lips. And somewhere beyond these fields, destiny sharpens its spear, waiting for your name. The days pass, slow as honey dripping from a comb. You return to your fields each dawn, your sling at your side, your psalms rising with the morning mist. The lion's pelt now hangs in your father's house, a story for their lips, but for you, a secret promise tucked behind your heartbeat. One evening, the wind carries rumors. The prophet Samuel is coming. Your brothers stand straighter, brushing dust from their tunics, voices low with wonder and fear. A prophet does not visit without reason. A prophet carries oil and questions that pierce the soul. You watch from the gate as Samuel's shadow crosses the threshold, his eyes milky with age, yet clear as a mountain stream. He greets your father with words you cannot hear, but you see the weight settle in your father's shoulders. Inside, the lamps flicker, casting golden halos around your brothers. One by one, they stand before the prophet's strong shoulders. Warriors' stance, sons who look like kings. Samuel's hand hovers over each brow, but the oil does not pour. You stand outside, dirt on your hands, the scent of sheep still clinging to your cloak. You do not know that your name has been whispered to heaven since before you took your first breath. You do not know that a crown already stirs in the marrow of your bones. Then your father's voice calls you in. Your brothers glance at each. Some smirk, others scoff. The boy from the fields, what can he know of thrones and oil? You step across the threshold, the warm air kissing your cold skin, the smell of oil and lamb stew thick around you. Samuel's eyes find you, eyes that have seen kings rise and fall. He sees your rough tunic, your chapped lips, the raw quiet in your gaze. He beckons you closer. You kneel, your heartbeat loud in your ears, like a drum before battle. You feel the oil, warm and fragrant, run down your forehead, pooling at the corners of your eyes, slipping into your beard yet to grow. No trumpet sounds, no shout announces you king. Only the hush of a house that holds its breath as heaven whispers over you. You are my chosen. You rise, the weight of the moment pressed into your shoulders like a mantle woven of hope and burden. Your brothers say nothing, their eyes like shuttered windows. But you feel it, something planted deep within you. Roots winding through your ribs, reaching for a throne you cannot yet see outside. The fields wait for you, and so does the giant who will test the roar of your heart. You wake before the sun, the fields silver with dew. Your hands move through the wool of your flock, counting heads, fingers brushing horns and ears, as you murmur blessings into the dawn. Yet today, your mind drifts far beyond these hills. You feel it in your bones, the tremor of iron striking iron, shields clashing like thunder on the horizon. Rumors have come down from the valley. A giant stands there, wrapped in bronze, like a walking fortress, his voice a storm that makes grown men cower. The army of Israel trembles at the edge of Elah. Each morning met with his roar, each night heavy with shame. You tie up the bread and cheese your father gives you, provisions for your brothers who stand with Saul's army. You set off down the winding path, the sling at your side a quiet reminder of the battles you have already faced, battles no army ever saw. The hills roll behind you, the fields vanish in the distance, and the ground beneath your feet hardens into dirt packed by marching men. Tents bloom like grey flowers along the ridges. Campfires spit embers into the pale sky. You pass soldiers, boys barely older than you, faces drawn and eyes hollow from nights without sleep. They watch you, the shepherd with the fresh bread and the open gaze, and they do not know they are seeing a king. Hidden in plain sight, you find your brothers where the clamour is loudest, swords clanking, men shouting over the din of fear. They greet you with rough hands and sharp laughter, snatching the bread from your satchel, tearing into it as if it might drown out their dread. Beyond them you hear it, the voice that rattles bones, that strips courage from chests already hollow. You step closer to the ridge and see him, Goliath, a mountain of flesh and bronze, spear like a weaver's beam, his shield-bearer half hidden in his shadow. He mocks you all, every man of Israel, every promise ever made. You taste the bitterness on your tongue, feel your heart steady itself, like a stone in a sling. Your brothers scoff. Why are you here, little shepherd? Did you come to watch men die? Did you leave your sheep to the wolves? You do not answer them. Your eyes stay fixed on the giant. Your hands rest on the smooth stones in your pouch, the same way you do when the wolves circle in the dark. Somewhere inside you, something ancient stirs, a whisper older than fear, older than any giant's roar. You inhale the dust and iron of this battlefield. You let it settle in your lungs like a vow. Tonight, you are still a shepherd. But before the sun sets again, the world will know what a shepherd's heart can do when anointed for kings. You stand before Saul's tent, the flaps stirring in the hot wind. Voices hush as you pass, the shepherd boy stepping where warriors fear to tread. Inside, the air smells of leather and sweat, iron and incense burned in desperate prayers. Saul sits, crown heavy on hair turned grey at the edges, eyes sunken from nights spent listening to a giant's laughter echo across the valley. His armour rests behind him, brass polished, but hope dulled. You bow your head, dust slipping from your cloak onto the king's fine rugs. He looks at you and sees only what you appear to be, a boy. Skin browned by sun, hands calloused from fields, eyes that carry dawn's quiet more than battle's blaze. He says, "You are but a child." This man has been a warrior since he could first hold a blade. How can you face him? You breathe in, slow and steady, the memory of the lion's roar, the bear's growl still warm in your bones. Your voice does not tremble when you speak. I have kept my father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and took a lamb from the flock, I went after it. I struck it. I rescued the lamb from its mouth. You see disbelief in Saul's eyes, but you stand rooted like the olive trees of Bethlehem. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from this Philistine too. The words settle in the tent like oil poured over raw wounds. A hush blooms, the hush that comes when something impossible is spoken into the world as if it were already done. Saul's shoulders sag under an invisible weight. He motions for his armor, the breastplate, the helmet too big for your brow, the sword heavy in your slender hands. You try them on, the iron clinks, the helmet slips over your eyes. You cannot see the fields through steel. You cannot hear the Lord's whisper through clashing metal. So you lift it off, piece by piece. You stand there, unarmored, unhidden, nothing but leather sling and the faith stitched into your heartbeat. The tent falls away round you in your mind. You are back in the pasture, the wind humming psalms through the grass, stone smooth in your hand, each one a promise. Saul's eyes soften, pity maybe, or wonder. He whispers words you carry like a shield, stronger than brass. Go, and the Lord be with you. You step out into the sun, the valley laid bare before you. Your brothers watch, their doubt a shadow behind your shoulders. The giant waits, a wall of bronze against the sky. Your fingers brush the stones in your pouch, each one warm with the promise that you are never alone, and above you, somewhere unseen, the same God who shaped the fields you tended now shapes the battlefield that will crown you. You step onto the valley floor, stones crunching beneath your sandals. Above you, the cliffs lean in, ancient witnesses to the clash about to unfold. The sun drips gold across your shoulders, your sling hanging loose in your palm. The giant sees you, his laughter rolls across the valley like distant thunder, shaking the resolve of men crouched behind shields. His voice booms. Am I a dog, that you come to me with sticks? Come here, boy, and I will feed your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. Your brothers stand behind the line, their breath caught in their throats. Saul watches too, a king hidden in his fear, crown heavy but heart hollow. But you do not tremble. The wind wraps around you like a cloak, carrying the memory of the fields, the songs hummed into sheep's wool, the roar of a lion stilled by faith. You reach down, fingers brushing the cool stream that cuts the valley's belly open. You choose your stones, smooth and obedient to your touch. 5 small promises hidden in a shepherd's pouch. You stand, facing the one who mocks you, his shadow stretching long like a giant's boast. But your eyes are not on the bronze that gleams in the sun. They are fixed higher, on the one who is both fortress and sling. You draw a breath, let it settle. Your ribs feel your pulse steady against your thumb. Your voice rises, quiet yet heavy with something bigger than courage. You come to me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Each word lands like a stone in the stillness, breaking the giant's laughter into shards. You see the fury in his eyes, the promise of death in his clenched fists. But you know how fear tries to roar before it runs. The valley holds its breath. Somewhere, a raven calls out, a single note in the hush. You spin the sling, leather singing through the air, each circle gathering every prayer you ever whispered in the dark. And when the stone leaves your hand, you feel it carry not just your hope, but the weight of every shepherd who stands alone between the flock and the lion. You do not close your eyes. You watch as the impossible bows its head to the quiet faith that has always lived in the heart of a shepherd. Time slows as the stone flies. You watch it cut the air, a small, simple thing, guided by hands that shaped the stars and the hills you once called home. The giant's eyes widen, disbelief blooming into fear, too late for him to roar it away. The stone finds its mark, a hollow above the brow, where even iron cannot stand guard. A sound follows the dull crack of pride, splintering, the thunder of bronze collapsing onto dry earth. His armor clatters, the spear falls, and the valley of Elah holds its breath. You stand there, sling limp in your hand, fingers brushing your thigh where the leather swings free. Around you, Israel's soldiers do not cheer at first. They stare, They wait to see if the giant will rise again, but he does not. Dust curls around his fallen form, and you step forward, heartbeat steady as a psalm whispered under olive trees. You pick up his own sword, so heavy, so cold, its blade longer than your arm. Your hands remember the feel of smooth stones, but this iron is different. This iron makes you tremble, not with fear, but with the weight of what must be done. You lift it, the steel groaning in your grip, and with one swift breath, the giant's last boast is silenced forever. The air hangs thick with the smell of earth, blood, bronze. Behind you, a cry rises, soft at first, then swelling like wind through the cedars of Lebanon. Israel's men surge forward, voices lifted, shields striking shields as they chase the Philistines back into their darkness. But you stand there, in the hush that always comes when courage does what fear swore could not be done. The sword slips from your fingers, thudding into the dust. You look up hills rolling away like folded linen, the same hills that once hid you in their grass, where you hummed lullabies to trembling sheep. You know they will speak your name. Now shout it around campfires, write it on banners, weave it into songs sung by mothers to sons yet unborn. But here, in this moment, you feel only the softness of the breeze across your neck, the warmth of sunlight falling on your shoulders, like a blessing. The valley knows your secret. You were never just a boy with a sling. You were a king, crowned in the silence before the stone ever flew. You walk back up the valley's slope, feet sinking into dust, still trembling from the giant's fall. In your hand, you carry the proof the world demanded, the head of the beast who mocked the armies of the living God. Men part as you pass. Soldiers who cowered behind shields now reach to touch your cloak's hem, their eyes wide with the wonder of what courage looks like in flesh and bone. Your brothers stand at the ridge, laughter and doubt forgotten on their lips. They do not know how to speak to you now. The same boy who once chased lambs through the olive groves now walks with the roar of a lion in his chest. Saul calls for you, his tent a shadow beneath the banner of Israel, its flaps lifting in the breeze like a curtain before a stage. You stand before him again, the giant's head heavy in your grasp. Blood still drips, dark and quiet, onto the earth at your feet. But your eyes do not linger on trophies. They seek the horizon, hills that remember who you were before men sang your name. The king's words wash over you, praise wrapped in caution, questions about your father's house, your lineage, your youth. You answer simply. You tell him, you are the son of Jesse, the shepherd from Bethlehem, the same boy you were when oil ran down your brow under Samuel's trembling hands. Outside, the people gather like wheat before the harvest. They chant your name, David, David, their voices braiding into songs that will outlive them all. But you stand still, inside you. The fields remain green, quiet, echoing with the bleat of sheep and the hush of dawn. You remember the lion's mane beneath your palm, the bear's breath. The psalms whispered to stars no crown could dim. The world sees only the boy who slew the giant. They do not see the boy who knelt in the grass, sling loose at his side, eyes fixed on a God who listens in silence. You turn from the crowd's roar. Above you, the sky unfurls like a promise, a throne waiting beyond blood and battle, beyond songs and spears. And though you feel its weight settling on your shoulders, you know this too. A king's crown means nothing if the shepherd's heart is lost along the way. So you breathe in, out, and let the hush of the hills fill you once more. You stand at the threshold of Saul's house, walls of cedar, pillars wrapped in embroidered linen, lamps flickering like stars caught in glass. The scent of oil and myrrh greets you, so different from the wind in Bethlehem's hills, from the smell of sheep's wool and crushed grass beneath your feet. They lead you through corridors lined with shields and spears, past guards who watch you with eyes that do not yet know whether to call you servant, champion, or threat. In the great hall, Saul sits upon his throne, a crown glinting in torchlight, heavy with iron and expectation. He gestures, and you come closer. Your feet sink into rugs woven by hands you will never know. Yet in your mind, you feel the cool stream at Isla, the stones in your pouch, the weight of the sling against your thigh. They bring you armor, finer than any you have seen, bronze polished until it blinds, robes dyed deep as pomegranate seeds. Musicians play softly in the corner, lyres strumming a lullaby for a restless king. He asks you to stay, to play your harp when the shadows press in, to lift his spirit when torment claws at his mind. You nod, you serve. Your fingers find the strings the same way they find the chords of your heart. Each night, when Saul's rage rises like a storm, your songs pour oil over his fear, your voice weaving psalms that hush the demons he cannot name. But behind the king's weary eyes, something festers, a thorn of envy twisting deeper with each tale the people tell, with each cheer that bears your name louder than his. You see it in the way his hand grips the spear at his side, knuckles white beneath the bronze rings. You feel it in the silence between your notes, a stillness that hums with danger yet to be spoken aloud. Yet you do not tremble, you do not run. At night, when the palace sleeps under the hush of moonlight, you step onto the terrace and let the wind touch your face. You close your eyes and listen beyond the marble, beyond the guards, beyond Saul's bitter dreams. You listen for the field that never left you, the hush of the flock, the breath of the hills, the voice that called you by name when no crown yet waited. And you remember, a king's palace may hold you for a time, but the heart that sings to the stars will never bow to iron or envy. You stand in Saul's hall, the harp resting against your knee, strings humming with psalms meant to tame a restless king. Your fingers move, gentle and sure, but tonight, the shadows behind his eyes grow longer than your melody. His gaze flickers like a candle starved for air. He grips his spear, thumb tracing the wood worn smooth by sleepless nights. Your song fills the stone walls, each note a bomb poured over envy's fire. Yet envy does not sleep. It prowls inside Saul, gnawing at his crown until it tilts crooked. On his head, you feel the shift before the spear flies, the sudden awful silence that swallows your last chord. The iron whistles past your ear, splintering the pillar behind you. You do not shout, you do not curse. Your breath catches in your throat, then escapes in a prayer older than fear. You meet Saul's eyes, to storms that do not know how to calm themselves. He snarls words you do not hold on to. You step back, feet finding the hush that always waits to cradle you. Another spear, a rush of air, the crack of wood, the rasp of your heartbeat. In that moment, you see the field again, the lions roar, the slings circle, the stones' quiet flight. You remember who held your aim steady then, and you know who keeps your steps steady now. Servants scatter, guards watch, frozen, too afraid to bind a king's hand or lift yours in defense. So you run not from fear, but from the snare that envy weaves around those who never trusted the hush of open fields. You slip through dark corridors, sandals slapping the cold stone, the palace's gold and silk vanishing behind you like smoke. Outside, the wind welcomes you back, its breath scented with olive branches and the memory of dawn in the wilderness. You find the stars, waiting, each one an ember of the promise poured over your brow, when Samuel's trembling hand tipped the oil that night. You lay your head against a rock, harp beside you, and let the sky remind you, no spear forged by envy can undo what was spoken in secret. A king may hunt you, but the shepherd will keep you, so you breathe steady and slow, and hold your crown where no iron can touch it, inside the heart that sings, even when the world would rather silence you. You wander the wilderness now, a king without a throne, a shepherd without a flock. Caves become your home, their stone walls holding secrets whispered by men who gather around your fire. The weary, the broken, those who see in you a hope. The world has not yet crowned. The nights are cold here. You press your back against rough rock, your cloak pulled tight round your shoulders. In the hush, your breath sounds like the wind that once sang through olive branches when you were a boy tending sheep under Bethlehem's dawn. You hear Saul's pursuit in the rustle of dry grass, his spears now carried by men who would trade their souls for a promise of gold. Yet each footstep that chases you only beats the iron of your spirit into something the world cannot bend. You remember the field, the hush of the hills, the lion's roar, the sling circling your wrist like a prayer made of leather and stone. You remember Samuel's hand, the oil dripping down your brow, an invisible crown pressed into skin that still smelled of earth and sheep in the cave. You close your eyes and listen, not for the enemy's steps, but for the voice that has always found you in the hidden places. The voice that says, wait, trust, I have not forgotten what I promised. Your men whisper of rebellion, of striking Saul down in the dark when his head rests so close you could end the hunt with a single blade. But your hands tremble at the thought, not from fear, but from the reverence that wraps you like a shepherd's cloak. You know what they do not, that a crown seized by blood tastes of ashes when morning comes. So you cut only a corner of his robe, a piece of cloth, a symbol that your power comes not from iron, but from the hush of obedience. Each dawn finds you still hidden, yet not lost. You move from cave to cave, your psalms echoing off stone walls, your prayers stitched into the silence that blankets you like a second skin in the darkness. Your heart becomes a throne. No man can topple its foundation laid in patience, in mercy shown to the one who hunts you. The songs you sing in these hollows rise like incense, their notes weaving a crown that waits just beyond the reach of spears. And when sleep comes, you rest not as a fugitive, but as a shepherd still. One who knows the valley of shadows holds no fear for the heart that trusts the one who calls it beloved. May the hills that cradled your fear cradle your faith. May the fields that taught you silence teach you trust. May every cave that hid you become a stone in the throne he builds for you. May the roar of lions and the whisper of streams remind you that the heart anointed in secret will be crowned in the open. May you walk through valleys of shadow and fear no spear, no envy, no giant's mocking roar, for the one who watched you in the pasture still watches you now, shaping you in the hush of waiting. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his voice be the sling that flies true, the oil that softens your brow, the crown no man can steal. Sleep now, Shepherd King, until morning comes, and you rise renewed.